How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to HGO, the show where we talk about everything that's hot in the world of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Ethan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host with the co-most. It's Hunter. Hey, Hunter. How you doing?
I'm doing just swell.
Oh, nice. We're back. We're back to it. You know, nearing the end of the year, and you're back to swell. No what-ifs, no stupid, would you kick a cat up to the moon if it meant that Microsoft had exclusives? None of that rubbish. You're just like, yeah, we'll just live with it.
Do you think that Pokemon Sword and Shield should have been called Pokemon Big and Pokemon Chungus?
Right, okay, moving on. We're also joined by the Weeb Wonder himself. Not having that. I know we've nearly made it to a year, but hey, we can still cancel beforehand. We're also joined by the Weeb Wonder himself. It's Kyle. Hey, Kyle, you doing all right?
Yep, great. Dandy.
Dandy, that's a new one. Love it. But yeah, if you didn't know, this is HGO.
Hunter took swell. That's the best one. Dandy's like second best.
Yeah.
Dandy is pretty good.
Basically, but yeah, hey, welcome back to HGO, everybody, where each and every week we come together to talk about everything that we love in the world of gaming. You can find some podcast services everywhere. Spotify, I've forgotten everywhere else we're on. Amazon Music, Apple Music, like Apple Podcasts.
Paralyzed Ethan's brain.
It has. I've lost it. All I can think about now is Big Chungus. That's all I can think of. It's all ruined. But hey, you can find us on podcast service everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play, you name it, we're on it. So go on over to anchor.fm/hotgamersonly or to Linktree, linktr.ee/hotgamersonly. You can find all the podcast services we are on. Or if you want to be easier, you can go over to our Twitter at hotgamersonly on Twitter. We have a link where you can find all the podcast services at the press of a button. So there you go. You can go and check that out. And if you want to see our beautiful faces as we talk a load of shit every week, you can go on over to bit.ly/HGOYT or search for Hot Gamers Only on YouTube, and you can find the video version of this podcast going out each and every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time. Bit of housekeeping. We've got a big week ahead of us, so I hope you're all ready. Sit down, buckle up, buckaroos, because we're going down. The final episode of technically season 1 of Hot Gamers Only is going live this Friday. You're getting 2 episodes this week, so you better watch it. We're gonna do kind of a recount. We're gonna talk about everything Hot Gamers Only on Friday. We're gonna talk about our favorite moments, our favorite episodes. So yeah, we're going to do that on Friday on a special episode. It'll come out at the same time, just on a different day. And then your regularly scheduled episode of HGO will be on the following Monday, as normal. First episode of season 2, I guess. Second year of HGO. Thank you all so much for the support so far. A couple more people have subscribed this week. So hey, if you can get us ever close to that 100 subscribers goal, we'd really appreciate it. I'd also really appreciate it if that cat didn't lick its arse behind me. But hey, you know what? We're just going to live with it. Oh, it's down. I might have to move it. We might have to open the door in a second. But no, other than that, thank you ever so much for supporting us. We'll be having a special episode on Friday. If you want to let us know what your favourite moments have been from the podcast this past year, Jesus Christ, let us know in the comments down below. We'll pick some of them. We'll pick all of them and read them out if anyone comments. Please comment. Or at us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly. We'd really appreciate it as we go down memory lane on Friday. But with that out of the way, I guess we should probably talk about something, I don't know, something about games. We've got a big hot topic. I don't know where the cat's gone. The big hot topic item this week. I'm just going to ignore it and pretend it's not there, and then we'll see what happens. We've got a big...
That's the spirit.
It's going to turn into a horror movie before we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Cat's just going to come and get you at the end.
Just like,
Cat just jumps on his head.
Yeah, exactly. But we've got a big hot topic.
You're my seat now.
You wish. Hey, that'd be content. It'd be content, but no, it'll probably just sit there and scream, which isn't much content. So there you go. Big hot topic thing. There's been a lot of movement in the gaming industry this week as Microsoft basically yoinked Bethesda. Finally, the contract has been sealed. That's actually happened this week. So I'm not going to ask 3 people who don't own an Xbox right now what they think about this acquisition, because I'm sure there's going to be a bit of a bias here. But I'm going to pose the question as I work out this cat thing. I'm going to throw it to you first, Hunter, because I feel like a lot of people are going yay or boo. But my question is this actually good for the games industry? That is my question to you. I'll give you my thoughts in a second, but what are your overall thoughts on the acquisition? What are your thoughts for the gaming industry as a whole, I guess? as I throw it to you and find this cat.
I guess it sort of depends. On one hand, Microsoft just gradually buying their way into having a bunch of things. I don't like it when consolidation happens too much. And, what was it, 7 billion is what they bought it for? That's a lot of money, and they still have a lot left that they could throw. I do not want Microsoft to become like the Disney of video games, where they're just buying everything. That would be annoying for sure.
Did you hear that? Did that pick up on the mic? Did you hear her?
A little bit.
Yeah, I knew that happened. Sorry.
With like extra resources and stuff behind them, maybe Bethesda can actually focus more on making good games again, rather than just the business end of everything.
Yeah.
Well, because Fallout 76, I don't think was made with the intention of, we're going to make this real good game we want to make behind it. It's like, let's see if we can get some cash.
Yeah. Kyle, throwing it to you. I don't think you've ever played a Bethesda game. Never mind care about Bethesda in their daily life. But as an outsider, I guess, this is to me, this is on a similar level at this point of what if someone picked up Sega. So picture that in your head. How would you be feeling right now? Do you feel, what are your overall thoughts on basically one of the big 7 publishers is just now kind of Thanos snapped out of existence and is part of Microsoft?
To be honest, I kind of thought that Microsoft already bought Bethesda. I thought that already happened like a few months ago.
It did, but the contract has only just been sealed. It's been like 9 months, 6 months, something like that. It's been a while, but it's only just happened now. They are now an Xbox.
Just making sure I'm not going crazy.
No,
it's not I swear I've heard about this before.
Yeah,
and not recently.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast when it actually happened, but it's over now. Todd Howard is a Microsoft employee, so
hooray.
Anyway,
I don't really have an opinion. I didn't have any interest in playing Bethesda games before.
Yeah.
Even less interest now because I've never owned an Xbox. Oops. Yeah. Oh, well.
Oops. Yeah.
Only good consoles.
I mean, Microsoft makes good consoles. The Xbox consoles have always been pretty well made. No, they're really well made. They're probably the best made consoles on the market in terms of...
Yeah.
Except for the 360. The 360 launch model was absolute garbage, but the rest of them have been pretty solid.
Critical existence failure.
Yeah, especially the new ones, like the One X and the Series X have been really well made. It's always been the lack of games, which has always led me away, because they had Halo, they have Halo, which I don't care about, they have Gears, which I don't care about, and they have Forza, which I do like, but not enough to spend $500 on a console every 6 years. So, to me, this Bethesda thing's interesting, because I see it both ways, Like, a load of Xbox people are happy, because now they've got this massive studio that's an exclusive. And I'm like, yeah, Microsoft needs an exclusives. So, yeah, probably a smart move, but I don't know how sustainable buying all the studios up is in comparison to doing what Sony does most of the time, which is make a studio from scratch and build that up. Because they make, like, everyone seems to be comparing nowadays, it's fine when PlayStation takes Insomniac, and I'm like, yeah, PlayStation took a 200-person company or whatever. Like, okay, they took one studio. Bethesda's a publisher. There is a dozen there's like, how many studios under Bethesda? Like 6? Like, that they just own themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few. Tango Gameworks, if you remember Tango. There's so many.
Tango.
There's so many.
This one, I don't get to play their games anymore. Evil Within 3.
It's huge. My main problem is this, because it's good for Microsoft, but are we getting ourselves into a bad situation where now it's just every publisher is anyone's game? Like, are we going to get to a point now where, okay, they bought Bethesda? Are we going to get to a point where Sega is bought by someone now? Are we going to have Sega gone? Are we going to have all these other middle tier? I feel like we're going to end up, if Xbox carries on the way that they're doing, which they're not going to stop, because Phil Spencer's just sitting there on his stack of money going, we have you now, and then points to Tim Schafer and he phases away into the Xbox ecosystem. But it's going to be interesting because it's like, I don't, like, it's good for them, but at the same time, it's really bad for the games industry because it becomes more of a monopoly. Like, there's always been a bit.
I think
we've seen this kind of thing happen.
While I was talking, I compared it to Disney just buying everything under the sun.
And that's bad. Like, I think it's fair enough, but here's my thing. This is the thing that's really been pissing me off as of recent. And you can say if you disagree, say if you agree, whatever. What I fucking hate is when some major, massive company with billions of dollars rolls up and goes, we own you now, and then the audience reaction is, yay, they bought them out, monopoly, fuck yes, fuck independence, we love Microsoft, we love Sony. I hate, like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It reminds me of when Disney bought Fox, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we get X-Men and MCU now, yeah!"
Yeah, and then every smart person's like, "No," because now they've got a major control in the film industry because another big distributor's gone out of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And you know, everyone in the industry has done these acquisitions before. This is not like brand new thing. You know, you've had Insomniac, you've had Sucker Punch being acquired in the past, you've had all these things, but I think Bethesda is so fucking big that it scares me. Yeah. Like, it genuinely scares me, like, to the point of Xbox Game Pass is great. I really like what they're doing with it, but at the same time, it's terrifying that they're going to this length to to basically have everything on Game Pass and only Game Pass. It reminds me of early Netflix, which it's working. To be fair, Microsoft's doing better than Netflix because they're not just buying the license to their games, they're just buying the fucking studios at this point. They're not going to Tim Schafer, "Oh, can we put Broken Age on Game Pass?" We're like, "We own your ass. Get Broken Age on Game Pass." Same with Todd Howard. It'll be like, "Oh yeah, you."
I go when you said early Netflix, my head went too far back into where they would mail you the DVD.
Oh my god!
Imagine if they did. Dude,
I remember that.
Yeah, same.
Good days.
I think GameFly is still kicking it that way.
Imagine still doing that. But no, you know, it scares me of. It's not like early Netflix where it's like, oh, one day everyone else will have a streaming service and they'll all be streaming it, which is what you'd expect because you don't want really a monopoly in the industry. But the way Microsoft's currently doing it, which is yoink your mine, yoink your mine, yoink your mine, they're not going for the rights, they're going for the fucking publishers and the developers, to the point where I'm like, this is going to be really bad. This is going to be really bad in a couple of years because Microsoft isn't going to fucking lose that battle. If this is what it's going to come to, Microsoft sits on a vault of money. They are Scrooge McDuck and they're sitting there going, "You're mine now." Because if it does come to that, if it does come to a point where Sony and Microsoft are the only two that have these services, Microsoft can outbid for every fucking thing that they want and own everything that they want. And that kind of scares me. Not because I like Sony or I hate Microsoft. I don't have any allegiance to a fucking company because I'm not an idiot. But at the same time, it scares me because when we get to that point, Microsoft's going to be the Disney. And that's terrifying to me because I really don't want the games industry to just become Game Pass. Because as much as I like Game Pass, it's not a sustainable future in my eyes anyway. But there we go.
I tend to agree. With Game Pass, it seems that a lot of people who use it will be like, okay, I would never buy this game, but it's good enough for Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if people just rest on that bar of quality, we would quit getting really great things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially as Microsoft and Sony would tend to be like, oh, well, if we're making them for a subscription service, why would we put all this money into it when it might only peak subscribers a little bit? Then you get the Netflix model where you've just got a certain amount of money to go around to everybody based on percentage values. It's kind of a scary future. It's weird. It's like, yeah, Microsoft has exclusives now. That's good because it gives me a reason to one day pick up an Xbox so I can see what mess Todd Howard's made next. But at the same time, it's kind of scary the future they're going to, so I can't go and round of applaud them for fucking buying out a publisher.
Also, does this mean Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be Xbox exclusive?
100%, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Xbox and PC. I don't know about Starfield. I think Starfield is the one that's currently in the grey area, because we don't know because they're saying they're filling out, like, they're running the contracts out. Anything that they have a contract with, like with Deathloop, like with Ghostwire, they're running those out.
Probably with Indiana Jones too. Just gonna throw
potentially with Indiana Jones, and
they had to pen that deal before they did the actual acquisition there.
Yeah, potentially with them, and then potentially with, I'm going to turn you up a tiny bit, Hunter. Hang on. And potentially with Starfield as well, just because Starfield has been in the works for so long, and I believe they've already had conversations with like everybody about it, that I feel like if that's coming this year, which it might be, then that might be also on everything. But then other than that, I assume everything else is. Phil Spencer was very clear this week and said, he said we want everyone to know that it's gonna be in places where there's Game Pass, which basically just means Xbox and PC. So it'll be interesting to see. Which it makes sense. You don't spend $7 billion to then go, yes, everyone can have my toys. I bought it to share. I don't think that's really how it works. And Minecraft's a special circumstances game where it was already on everything. And I feel like they make too much money off that. But there you go. Enough talking about Xbox and Bethesda for now. This kind of goes into a topic, thinking of Bethesda games, Hunter, that you wanted to talk about. So I'll pass the torch to you as you try and explain to me and Kyle what the hell we're supposed to be talking about.
Please. I have no idea.
It's talking about how the future of games could potentially be going to a scary place. I figured it'd be interesting to look back at where games have been already.
Oh gosh.
I don't know, 10 or so years, and see how they've changed.
Mm-hmm.
This was pretty much brought on by a conversation I was having the other day, and my brother was like, I think games have kind of started to get less good over the past several years, and I was like, I don't know if I agree with that one, buddy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go on. I'll let you finish.
So I figured we could just take a look at, I don't know, things like, just take a look at some of the games that have come out, like check back 10 years, see what was out then, compare it to what was out last year, and then see how like the business has trended since then as well.
I mean, it's an interesting point, because to me, the worst generation that we've had out of all the generations I've experienced, which is from PS1, N64 onwards, and even a bit before that, to me, the worst generation we've had was the PS3 360 generation. That was, to me, the worst generation that we've had by a long shot.
Yeah.
So when everyone says, oh, have games gotten worse in the last 10 years? I'm like, well, we're comparing it here to the worst generation here. If we went from PS2 to PS3, I'd be like, yeah, they kind of have got a bit worse. But now I'm like, yeah, you have your shit, but I feel like it's very much since the PS4 we've been back up on that upwards momentum.
I tend to agree there. It's not like the PS3 didn't have good things on it, but I feel like, okay, so the overwhelming it feels like the genre that everything in the PS4 generation tended to land on that got oversaturated was the open world RPG, right?
Oh, I've had enough of those fuckers. Yeah, I've had enough of those fuckers. They're
same.
The PS3
you played one.
I've only played like 2 of them.
Of the PS3 era was bro shooters. Much worse. Much worse.
I mean, I'm still feeling the fatigue on first-person shooters to the point where whenever I play a new first-person shooter these days, I'm like, this is the fucking worst. I still hate this. Like, I've played too many of them. Like, even good ones that people consider good. I remember playing in 2013 BioShock Infinite and going, this is boring. I'm sick of shooting people. And here we are later being like, playing whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is just boring as fuck. If there's one genre I can't stand anymore, it is corridor shooters. And I'm sure Doom might fix that problem for me. But I feel like Doom will be an exception, not a rule, where I am so fucking sick. If I have to play one more fucking campaign shooter, I'm done. I'm absolutely fucking done.
It isn't really corridor based. It's more like you get open rooms and things to hide rather than like just sit here at point A with some cover and shoot at point B until you get the courage to run at point B and the monsters despawn.
Yeah, like
Ethan,
yeah.
have you ever heard of a game called BPM Bullets Per Minute?
Yeah, I've seen little bits of it. I have. I've not dabbled in it, but yeah, I have.
I was thinking that might be something interesting. For those who don't know, it's basically like a first-person shooter where you do everything to the tune of this, to like the beat of the song. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. It's like Cadence of Hyrule if it wanted to be a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Or Crypto the Necrodancer, I guess, to be more accurate.
But no, it's that probably is something that's probably more up my alley. But man, I'm so sick of the general Dubro shooter, which is kind of, to mark your point about have games progressed, I feel like the game industry always does this thing where they all settle on one fucking game type for 5 years and release nothing but that, and then wait till one person sticks their head up and goes, I've got a bit of innovation here, and then like Piranha, they all swarm it and go, this is the new thing.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, I can't wait. PS5 generation, all these games on the next Switch and on the Xbox Series X, I can't wait for them all to just be Breath of the Wild. And we've already started seeing that happen.
Yeah, we already started seeing stuff like that with, Gods and Monsters and whatever.
Genshin Impact.
Genshin, yeah. But
even Horizon to an extent.
I mean, Horizon came out at the same time.
Those were at the same time,
It was released before.
Technically, Horizon was first, so
yeah.
Aonuma copied Horizon in a month and he made Breath of the Wild. That's the canon, right? I think it was actually a week. There's like a week between them.
Yeah. Literally a week.
Yeah, fast copying of the homework. But no, it's like, if you look at every thing, it's like you got shooters, open world games are so fucking done. I'm so done with them. The amount of PS4 open world games there were this generation. When you look at Sony's first party, as much as people love Sony's first party, 90% of the games that come out of Sony first party are fucking open world RPGs, and I'm sick of them now. Like, even with good stuff like God of War, I'm like, still technically a fucking world.
Open world games, they're the over the shoulder third person
action game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I say the word Sony first party exclusive game, and you know exactly what I mean. You can see it in your head.
Which I hope they change this generation, but it's one of those. It's the same with indie games. Like, indie games always seem to just. It's weird because you think everyone would just make what they want to make, but even they seem to be following their own little trends and their own little niches. It was like every
they
indie
all
game.
have like their own little style to them.
Every indie game was a 2D platformer when Meat Boy was around. Every game was like roguelite is the thing to be now if you're a indie game. Every fucker's doing a roguelite. Yeah, everyone's doing a roguelite.
I was the first one to do it, but I think it's reinvigorated the interest.
Before then, a couple of years ago, Metroidvanias, that was the shit that every indie game developer was like, yes, this is the thing.
I imagine Undertale spawned a lot of copycats.
Undertale is pretty much
a handful
anonymous with any kind of pixely 2D RPG kind of thing. Like, I played Icon last year, and it didn't really feel that much like Undertale, but I saw comparisons to it because its art style was a little similar.
Yeah.
Basically anything that's quirky.
Yeah.
I think every indie game developer kind of sits on that thing until like one comes out definitively on top. That's usually the reason. Like, it's like
Amnesia, when that came out, spawned a whole lot of copycats in the horror genre.
Oh, fucking Five Nights and all that shit.
Yeah, that Resident 7, a little bit I played of that feels very much like it was still trying to chase that to some extent.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, but yeah, you have like the standout games that it's like, okay, like you have Undertale, you have like Stardew Valley where people are like, oh no, we're not gonna keep making those, we're just going to let those kind of sit, which is usually where indie games usually do really well, is they kind of all sit. And then it's like, when I think of indie game Metroidvania now, I think of Hollow Knight, to the point where it's like all those other ones that tried, I'm like, fair, fuck them off, I know Hollow Knight. that's that.
Ori, it's probably about it.
I don't count Ori's an Xbox game. I'm not counting Phil Spencer and his fucking wallet full of money as an indie developer. Yeah, Phil.
Hey.
I love Phil.
As an indie game.
I do want to. I feel like I should specify. I love Phil Spencer. He seems to be great. Seems to be
great.
Like, he seems to be a nice guy that plays, like, he actually plays games and shit, so I respect him. But man, does he need to stop whipping his wallet out to every fucking problem, dude. Like, that man is like, oh, buying up studios is wrong. Exclusives are wrong, guys. Exclusives are wrong because he's got his wallet out for giving Todd Howard money to buy Bethesda, you know? Like, that's the kind of thing he does. But anyway.
All right, Todd, how many zeros in the check?
7? He said 7,000? Oh, no, 7 billion. Okay.
7 billion? Oh, fuck.
I mean, I'm going to have to fire my intern for this, but, you know, fair enough. Let's just fucking do it.
Bill, I need money. Bill!
Fucking Bill Gates just keeps looking at his bank account and he's like, where's that 7 billion gone? Turns on the news, sees that they've bought Bethesda, he's like, fucking Phil at it again, dude. That's the last time I let him borrow the company credit card. But back on whatever topic. Have games stagnated? I feel like games stagnate in year periods, not like 10 years. I feel like every so often a new game comes out that revitalizes the industry, whether it's The Last of Us, whether it's Breath of the Wild, where everyone goes, oh, games can be something more, and then people try for a couple of years, then they stagnate again, then something else shows up. I mean, PS4 generation, great example of that, because you just come out of PS3, Last of Us has just come out. Everyone was like, oh shit, actual storytelling in video games, that's cinematic storytelling in video games, might actually be a feasible thing for everybody to do and make a shit ton of money from. So what do you see in like every fucking single player game for the next like 3 or 4 years is nothing but narrative storytelling. And I mean, Sony's still doing it now. They turned God of War from a hack and slash who cares about Kratos into this really engaging story that the gameplay is like the back burner of that game, really, because everyone's just so engrossed in the world and the storytelling. And, you know, similar, like, say, Breath of the Wild, fucking hell, everyone's just going to do that now of, oh, what if we have 20 ways to solve a puzzle? Or what if an open world doesn't have 20 million markers on it? I mean, Ubisoft's going to have to fucking hit themselves with a rubber band like 6 million times to get that fucking habit out of their system. Like, damn it, we put a marker on the map again. Like, fucking snap. But no, 10 years? Nah. PS3 fucking suck.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, for sure. Like, there are a few standouts from it, like, but these were all before the end of it either. It was towards the beginning with like Metal Gear Solid 4 or Dragon Age. Towards the later half of the PS3, I was like, oh, I'm not really liking that much here.
Yeah, I mean, one question, I will actually give you this. One place, there's one company that has stagnated in the past 10 years. And you know who I'm going to say, because they've released like a couple of good games, but fucking Nintendo has done the biggest stagnation. They used to be innovators, and except for Breath of the Wild, they have not fucking innovated on anything recently. I'll give you Breath of the Wild, I'll maybe give you Splatoon, because they kind of re-envisioned what they thought you could do with a third-person shooter. They're the only two examples. Mario Odyssey is a great fucking 3D platformer, but there's nothing innovative in that. To me, there's nothing that screams, "Oh, only Nintendo could have done that." If you give Toys for Bob that money, they probably could have done something similar to that. You could have given it to anybody, and they probably would have.
I mean, something
fun later.
I'm not talking about that fucking Toys for Bob. Lou, come on the show so you can answer for your crimes.
But, like you were saying, Ethan, with Mario Odyssey, even Hat in Time was able to do something similar, and that was with an indie developer team.
And Hat in Time's great. I love Hat in Time.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite 3D platformers. And then, and to give another example, Playtonic with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, the 2D platformer they did, to me is the best Donkey Kong Country game that's ever been made. And it's an indie game. It's an indie studio
again. But does it have new funky mode?
No, it doesn't. But it also doesn't have bullshit platforming that you have to trial and error. So, you know, wins and losses, I guess. But no, Nintendo to me is like the only
Funky Kong.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo to me has truly like stagnated, because all the good games that come out of Nintendo right now, like Monolith, is the people that like Monolith with Xenoblade. They're doing a great job, but they're working out.
Soft.
They're doing all of Nintendo's hard work, because every fucking game that Nintendo makes nowadays, it always says something at the end like "world designed by Monolith." It's like they can't even do anything without Monolith. when
They
you
even
look
have
at
to help with fucking Animal Crossing.
yeah, they happen. They help.
What were they even doing in Animal Crossing where they needed Monolith to step in?
World design, I assume. Like I'm just like whatever. Like terrain
But you
generation.
can design the world in that game.
No clue.
The credits of Animal Crossing should say world design you.
We just made a
just a
fucking
mirror.
island. Put that on the back of the box. We just made a fucking island. You do the rest. But
Once
no,
Isabel decides your island looks good enough, whatever that
arbitrarily.
fucking means.
Yeah, still don't know. I've been playing it for a year and I still don't know what the fuck how to get 5 stars. No clue. Flowers.
I tried that. It didn't work.
But
Why
no.
is Animal Crossing so hard?
Like looking at those games that I have behind me, man. Like honestly, it does feel like Nintendo's kind of hit a plateau in recent years, which I wish they would get out of.
Like Nintendo's old ideas, like take a look at the Wii U's eShop. That had so much backwards compatibility with N64, DS, and Game Boy Advance. All that's just gone on Switch. In exchange, we have Nintendo Switch Online services, which give you NES and SNES, which get updated like once a month with 2 games getting added.
Right. I'm going to say this, controversial opinion time, why not? Apparently we're just going off the ropes for everything today. But unpopular opinion, I've never touched the NES or SNES Online at all, especially NES. I think unless you grew up with NES games, there is fucking no value for me in that. Like, honestly, most of them,
none,
I feel like there is no
the thing
value.
with NES games is it seems like they just made them better in the SNES era. So
Yeah.
like, aside from just seeing what Zelda 1 was like, there was no real reason for me to go and play all of it besides after playing A Link to the Past.
Exactly.
You know?
Zelda 1 is just a lot of, I hope you enjoy solving this puzzle, which has next to no direction on how to solve.
Yeah,
Hope you can figure out what tile on this wall to bomb so that you can get what you need out of it.
Yeah.
Enjoy that one, kids.
You know, when you brought up the eShop and stuff like that, I've got a new proposal for you, Hunter. Game developers haven't stagnated, but the industry as a whole has.
Yeah, I'd say the business has most likely. Like, everyone's trying to find ways to gouge you for your money now in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you could make it solid game, and then even just games that have no business having microtransactions will have them.
Yeah. I mean, we went through the whole loot box debacle in the past decade to the point now where, except for like Ultimate Team and a handful of games, everyone else has just kind of gone bad juju and fucked them away. Like, kind of, even Activision's like, no, we don't want to do those anymore. We're just gonna. Activision makes me laugh because they're like, we can just sell the skin for $20. Why put it in a random thing where we can just sell each of them for $20 and that somehow works? And I'm like, what? Okay. But no, the industry seems to have been very shitty in the past 10 years. I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the industry is just kind of falling back on people's nostalgia.
That's another trend,
than
is everyone
anything.
seems to be looking backwards rather than forwards recently.
Exactly. Like, just look at how many remakes and remasters we've gotten recently.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just reimaginings of old games.
Hey, it's PS2 generation time, boys. Let's go. We're just going to keep going. I can't wait for them to remake the PS3 games now in colour. That'll be great. Love it.
In color.
They should advertise it as that. They could be like, oh yeah, Fallout 3 now in colour, and then they just show before and it's just grey. And then they show it now and it's...
Say that again. Fallout games. I don't know if that would help them. The thing with Fallout games is it seems like being ugly is part of the intended experience.
I don't know. I just think that's Bethesda's engine at this point. Like,
but the thing is, Fallout 4 came out in 2015? That's 4 years after Skyrim. Skyrim looks better than it.
yeah, true. I mean, I haven't really played much of Fallout 4. I own it, but I haven't really touched it. So I could never get into Fallout. It just doesn't interest me. But no, I don't know. Game industry's whack. I don't know. Don't know what to add. They are very nostalgia blinded.
Do try to rest on nostalgia a lot, and there's ways to do that while still pushing forward.
Yeah.
In one of the Supergiant documentaries that I watched, their whole goal that they described is making games that make you feel like you did when you were a kid, but still, it's still something new. They're still trying to accomplish something that other people haven't done or can't do, and they always manage to pull that off. That's why I tend to like them so much. I think the fact that I love Transistor nearly as much as something like Devil May Cry or Metal Gear or Zelda, these games that I played when I was a kid, is proof that you can find a way to make something new and good.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking an old idea and saying, what can we do with it now? And how can we improve that idea? I think that's how a lot of great games of the past generation did kind of show up, right? You've got
one example of that is Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, which is basically just a full it took the world of Link to the Past and said, okay, what can we do with this? And how can we make it feel like it's its own thing rather than just a one-to-one remake of Link to the Past, but in 3D?
Yeah.
And I really respect Link Between Worlds for doing that. It had a lot of really cool ideas, and it kept the whole switch between light and dark world aspect, used that in a new, innovative way, and I really like it.
It added a whole new element to the game, too. I think it actually makes the game better than the Link to the Past for it.
Yeah.
I own it. I can't add anything. I own it. Guess what I'm going to say, guys? I own it, but I haven't played it. What a riot.
It's okay, I never finished it.
Oh, good. Great job, everyone.
Hey, we didn't have a podcast back when I was playing it.
No reason to finish it.
Hell yeah.
But no, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to add to your question, Hunter. I don't know.
What do you think about the? Because that's what felt like the clear dip is the PS3 era. What do you think about it? Led to things just kind of being a little meh by comparison to the ones around it.
I don't know. Well, to me, it's not even just the PS3 and 360. I also chuck in the Wii with that, personally.
Oh, I'm talking
but that's
about all of it together. Just saying PS3 is easier than saying all three.
It's because, I don't know, on the Wii, the reason the Wii didn't thrill me is because, one, I was the one person in the world that didn't own a Wii, so I just watched in from everyone else's. My experience of the Wii was what everyone else's experience was on day one, where I'd go to a friend's house, play Wii Sports, and go, oh, that's fun, and then move away. I never had the day-to-day life of, okay, now that I'm bored of Wii Sports, what the fuck do I do with this thing? Which a lot of people had. So I wouldn't really know. I can't really speak to the Wii that much, but nothing on the Wii ever stood out to me. But
we had Mario Kart Wii to tide us over for like 7 years. It's fine.
You poor children.
Nah, dude, it was great.
Nintendo.
It was a good time.
Yeah, you guys, you made the best out of a terrible situation. That's why you're all trauma. Like you're all trauma.
Nah, that game's great.
Yeah, you're all filled with trauma. It's not.
Dude, Mario Kart Wii is so fucking tight.
It's man.
Controls.
It's an acquired taste, man. You had to grow up with Mario Kart Wii. If you didn't grow up with Mario Kart Wii and you go back and try and play it when everyone else is like, it's the best thing ever, and then you're sitting there and you're like, nah, this is jank as shit. You had to be there. It's very much the definition of you had to be there game.
It's a game that feels good to be good at.
Yeah,
which I love.
Yeah, but I can get that from other games. I don't need to go to Mario Kart Wii to do that. But no, with the PS3 and 360, the thing that's so uninteresting to me was just every game was so cookie cutter. Like, it genuinely was. Like, every game was the same. It was big white guy with gun facing either towards the camera or towards the horizon, and it was like, that was it with a logo. And it didn't matter what it was, who was making it. It didn't matter if it was Insomniac with Resistance. It doesn't matter if it's fucking BioShock. It doesn't matter to me if it's even the garbage games like Haze that I don't know why I remember exist. It's like to me, like, there's so many generic shooters that are all like completely fine, and there was nothing incredible to me. Like, when you think of PlayStation, when you think of Xbox exclusives on the 360, you think of like Halo 3, which was the first Halo game on the 360, I believe. Or was it Halo 2? Was Halo 2 a 360 game? I feel like that was a late Xbox game.
I could be wrong.
Shall I look this up? I'm going to look this up real quick.
It had to have been, because Halo 1 was like 2001. When the series,
Halo 2 was released on... source is Wikipedia, by the way, guys. Xbox One. No, Xbox One, guys. No, Xbox. I meant to say... Yeah, I was like...
Released this year.
Yeah, I meant to say the first Xbox might be, yeah, and then 2007 was Halo 3, right? So here's my point proven, right? 360, what games did it have? It had Halo 3, which everyone loved, and then maybe Gears, both fucking shooters, and that's it. Like, those are the two games to me that scream 360. Mm-hmm. What's the PS3 have? Uncharted and Last of Us, and then if you're talking, like, if people were really inclined to go out of their way, Infamous, and, like, Little Big Planet. And I love Little Big Planet as much as the next person. Little Big Planet's fucking great. But
I didn't own a PS3, so were there just, like, no 3D platformers?
Oh, there was...
Or
you had Little Big Planet,
just
you had...
no series.
No, there was this... Ratchet & Clank got its Future series on PS3. Ratchet & Clank got Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, Nexus, All for One. There was a shit ton of Ratchet & Clank games on the PS3. I feel like I missed one as well. But Ratchet & Clank was very much prominent. And you got a Sly game in the last 6 months of the PS3's life cycle.
A Sly game.
And you got two Little Big Planet games. Other than that, you didn't really have much in terms of 3D platformers. It was basically dead, especially considering towards the end of the generation, 3D platformers just kind of seemed like it was dead now. That was kind of a dead genre. It was kind of it was dying / dead during PS3.
Was the first 3D platformer I think I played in the PS4 generation. It was like new.
Also, I'm an idiot, so before anyone comments, Little Big Planet's a 2D platformer, not even a 3D platformer. 2.5, if we're going to stretch that one, you can move up and down a tiny bit. But I digress. So yeah, you had Ratchet and Clank and you had Sly, and that was about it. So everything was just a shooter. That's why I dislike the PS3 generation looking back, is I can look at all these games and they were either shooters or there was some great little innovative games that did some new stuff that I really liked. There was this little one called Assassin's Creed 2, which was really great. It's a shame they made 26 more of them and kept it at the same quality. Because, man, I really hate when people always laugh at Assassin's Creed, and I'm like, nah, but when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, it just hit fucking different. It was really good. It was new. It was interesting. And then they just made a shit ton more.
And it was not, assaulting my ocular cavities several years in a row, all the time in, like, the fall, without fail.
Yeah. But there were some good games on the PS3 generation. Fucking Batman Arkham Asylum. Absolute classic. Love that game. It still is. It's aged really fucking well. So is City. City is also really good. You're either a City person or an Asylum person. When I was a kid, I very much preferred City. Going back and playing them, I kind of think Arkham Asylum's a better game. But I think City is still very good.
City was usually my answer for the best one too, but I don't know, maybe the open world fatigue thing.
Yeah, that's what I feel, is having the much more enclosed Metroidvania kind of Asylum thing was so much more interesting. But you had those interesting games that were there every now and again. I mean, I should just look over here and look at a series that started on PS3, but I can't think of any really. There were games, but
Dragon Age is probably the standout.
It'd help if I put my glasses on and actually checked.
In the PS3 generation that stayed with me. But aside from that, like things that were already there, like Metal Gear, Devil May Cry, were the other ones that I still remember for the most part.
Oh, Red Dead.
Oh, Red Dead.
Can't have Eamon kill me again for forgetting Red Dead on an important fucking topic. So there you go, Eamon. I hope you're watching so that I remember. Red Dead Redemption is one of my favourite games of all time, and it's in that generation, so... there are innovative games, they're just very few and far between. Even GTA 4, to me, is the GTA game that everyone cares the least about. To me, like out from 3 onwards, obviously there's GTA 1 and 2, which everyone just kind of goes, yeah, it's like Persona, dude.
Like
3 and up, 3 and up, dude, 3 and up. But whenever I hear people speak highly of GTA, it's always either 5 or San Andreas or 3. No one ever's. I don't really see anyone going, nah, the best GTA game was GTA 4. I hear good things about the DLC, but not the actual game itself. So yeah, it's an interesting generation.
But now, Ethan, the other word I heard you throwing out a lot was the word innovation.
Yes.
You want to talk about motion controls, which was a huge focal point of this generation. Between the Wii, which is what it built on motion controls, and then the PlayStation Move and the Xbox whatever.
The DualShock 3 also had 6-axis in it, which was motion controls in its controller. Everyone forgets about that.
I remember that. I could see Batman he was gliding.
Yeah, I also remembered another reason why I hate the fucking PS3 generation, Heavy Rain. Dude, there's another reason to despise that fucking Jason. Fucking hate that game so much. It's so bad. People that think Heavy Rain is good need to fucking go back and listen to the words that are coming from that game and go, yeah, that's terrible writing.
How much power it seems to have given David Cage.
Too much power. Too much fucking power. But no, motion controls fucking sucked. Still, like, I feel like Gyro is the point where we're at, where this is where it should stay. And I'm like, this is fair enough for me, where, you know, having the option to kind of move the controller slightly up or down for finer movements, that's what motion controls is good for. Not the Kinect. Fucking God forbid the Kinect. Jeez. All I think about with the Kinect is how they fucked with Rare for so many years, forcing them to make Kinect stuff. And also watching Peter Molyneux with that stupid demo. Does anyone remember that stupid demo from Peter Molyneux? You've got to remember this, Hunter. There was like this kid, like this AI kid or whatever. And it was the dumbest shit ever, where it was like, this is your kid or something. He's like, yeah, he'll learn things from you. It's Peter Molyneux spouting his absolute bullshit like he always does. And he's like, and they had this woman go, like, playing catch with the kid where she's throwing a fake ball and the ball shows up on screen. And it was the worst. I hate it. It's so dumb. And it was shit. And it was just, Peter Molyneux can be added to the list of snake oil merchants in the games industry. I fucking hate him, but Kinect garbage. PlayStation Move. I had PlayStation Move. Hello, one person that didn't own a Wii, the one person that did own the PlayStation Move as well. Can you believe it? But it was just the Wii, tiny bit better, tiny bit more accurate. Nothing to it. And then the Wii, cool, great gimmick, dude. I've got nothing.
And even then, it took Nintendo way too long to even make accurate motion controls with the Wii Motion Plus.
And even then, I don't think that the Wii Motion Plus was like the most groundbreaking.
Accurate is a generous word.
Yeah,
generous adjective.
It's like saying that the Wii U was mildly successful when really it was massively a failure.
I mean, when the motion controls worked, they worked. Like,
Skyward Sword, but you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say that about a car, though, would you? You wouldn't say, but you know, when it works, it works. It's just 90% of the time you crash and die. Like, you wouldn't go, get me in that car, baby.
If my video game fails to function properly sometimes, I'm also not going to die because of it. So
yeah, but you shouldn't accept. You shouldn't go. You shouldn't,
a game and not a car.
I'm just saying, dude, if you're giving something like a 60% like a working rate, I'm just like, you wouldn't let that slide in a car or a plane, so don't let it slide with Nintendo. They have enough money to make it work properly.
Well, I mean, when I played Skyward Sword, I didn't have any issues with the motion controls, but I don't doubt that they existed because I heard nothing but people saying that the motion controls were unresponsive.
Yeah.
Back when the game was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt the issues are there, but I never had any.
It's like how when I played Ocarina of Time as a kid, I had the original cartridge. So before they changed all the stuff about it, like the Fire Temple music and I got to have all that stuff. So
Oh, nice.
so years later, when people were talking about all these changes, I was like, "What are you talking about?"
What do you mean? It's right here.
Yeah.
It's right there. Right in the face.
Yeah.
Listen to this cool chanting in the fire temple.
Yeah.
Man. What a shame I won't be spending $60 to actually experience this game. Truly tragic. Truly tragic.
Yeah, you can skip out on Skyward Sword.
Don't
It's
worry,
good for it's good
plan.
for a playthrough. IMO.
Hey, who knows? Maybe if I have the money to burn at that point and it's out and there's nothing else going, I'll be like, yeah, maybe. But we've got so much stuff coming out this year that I'm like,
but
the
it's
last
okay,
thing.
Ethan. You can use the control stick to swing the sword now.
Oh, don't get me fucking
But
started.
good luck figuring out how to turn the camera.
People that I hate. Number one, people that.
Game.
Yeah, how are you going to turn... Yeah, right. People that I hate. I know we said earlier people that clap at fucking monopolies making fucking dumb decisions like that. That's my streamer, dude, when Phil Spencer takes his wallet out. It's number two people I hate. People that applaud Nintendo when they don't deserve applause are people that I also hate. When people are like, we fixed it by doing this dumb broken method instead of just completely remaking the game with a good control scheme, and everyone's like, good job everyone, $60, here it is, you can wiggle the stick, it's magical. Like, no, fuck that. Dumb people.
I mean, people were talking about how you would translate that control scheme over. I said something about that being what they would do, because it's as good as you could get. You get each direction at least, and not being able to control the camera is just kind of the price you pay for the older game.
Right.
Like, if anything, it would have to go back.
Like that's in the original version either. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like, if anything, it would probably just go back to like how it was in Ocarina of Time and Majora, when you just Z-targeted to turn the camera behind you.
Yeah, I think that's... I could be wrong, because it's been a while since I played Skyward Sword, but I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. Because the Wii didn't have an extra joystick, he had the one.
Right.
Right, here's my question to you then. This is kind of in line of the games industry. What's the point of a remaster or a remake? What's the point of it? That's my question to you. Is the point of a remaster to just make the game playable on a new set of hardware, or is it going, let's rework this game to work with a new piece of hardware? That's my question. Because my whole thing with Skyward Sword is, if you're not going to put the effort in to actually make it a game that's made for that system, don't fucking bother. That's my opinion of, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, we've made it so that you can use the controller in this really fucking dodgy way that probably feels awful. But I'm like, what's the point? Like, surely, if you're going to go back and do something again and not be a lazy cash grab, you should actually fix the problem so that it works on new hardware.
I mean,
That's my
Skyward Sword had a lot of problems, and the most notable one was a bunch of backtracking. But that at that point would take an entire overhaul of the game to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a difference between porting something to make it just available to you and then like changing it entirely, like Resident Evil 2 did.
Mm-hmm.
For example.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It would be nice if everyone wanted to do that, sure, but not everyone has the time or resources to.
Yeah, but Nintendo does.
Well,
that's
yeah.
the thing.
So
It's like Phil Spencer going, "Oh, we don't have enough money to do this," when you've just seen him spend $7 billion. Like it's like
I could imagine maybe feeling a little sore about that later. But Skyward Sword isn't that old yet.
I smell bullshit.
As opposed to the previous games, like it's a little weird that Nintendo would just port Mario 64 and not do anything to it. Because that game is, older than me.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I can, with the Mario 64 thing, I can kind of accept that because there's two other games that they've bundled in there, whereas Skyward Sword is literally the same fucking game and they just stuck HD on it.
No,
it doesn't even look HD. They just stuck the word HD next to it and went, ta-da! Like, it's not even like Wind Waker, where Wind Waker, it feels like, and I'm hoping that they prove me wrong, and when we get closer to Skyward Sword's release, they're like, we fixed this and this and this, and we heard you hated fucking this, so we fixed it. And then I can go, okay, they've actually made some changes. But with Wind Waker, they fixed the Triforce quest. They made it look. They made it look a bit. They added quality of life improvements like the Swift Sail. They added a little stuff to make it feel like, oh, if you're gonna replay it, this is how you'd want it to now play, not be shit like it was before. Whereas with Skyward Sword, it's like we've kind of made the controls kind of work. If you don't want to wiggle your fucking Joy-Con around, I guess it works. I guess it's quote unquote playable. And $60, please. And I'm like,
how am I gonna Skyward Strike game?
it's just,
what with the joysticks?
Because the whole thing was you have to take your Wii remote and like
point it up. Yeah,
maybe click it in.
It's just
that'd be interesting.
I don't know.
But no,
Ethan found a way to do it.
I kind of forget what your question was, but
what's the point of a remaster? Is the point just to make it available in whatever bare bones fucking thing you can put, or should the point of a remaster be to actually make it for that, make it suitable for that console that they're now porting it to? To be fair, here's the thing with Nintendo, is Nintendo's in a very unique camp with this kind of question, because everyone else, you don't have to worry about this stuff. Like when they were like, oh, we want to bring Arkham Asylum to PS4, they didn't have to go, oh, but the fucking control scheme, guys. We had everyone shaking their fucking DualShock 3 like that when they're Batman. No, it wasn't happening. Like the controls were easy. It was just the visuals and what they want to change. Whereas with games for Nintendo, with their fucking dodgy ass control schemes as they always have, you've got to ask yourself, like, oh, should they be actually changing it so it works, or should they just be like, it's fine, we'll make do?
I think it is kind of weird that they would even make this dual stick control setup when your Joy-Cons would work just fine, because Joy-Cons have better motion sensors than the Wiimote did.
Yeah.
And Wii Motion Plus, so it's kind of
the reason they made the dual stick thing is because if you made people play with exclusively the Joy-Cons and swinging them, you would have to play docked or like straight up the light switch couldn't do it.
Right. Okay, I always forget the Switch is also a portable console.
Yeah,
I have never moved it out of its home.
But instead of shaking your sword around like fucking this, couldn't they have added touch controls in that regard for handheld?
That's possible. Yeah, I guess that would.
Have you swiped the touchscreen instead of? I don't know. Just weird.
Like a DS, like Spirit Tracks,
like Spirit Tracks.
Hourglass.
Yeah, exactly, dude, exactly. I don't know. To me,
I don't know if people were exactly doing backflips over that control scheme either, but it would be a way to do it. You're right.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird to me. Like, I'm just gonna wait. I can't wait for the videos of people with Joy-Con drift playing in the controller mode and having their analog stick slightly forward constantly. So all you see is Link just going constantly because the game just doesn't know how to fucking deal with it. So that'll be fun. Who knows? No. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting question. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we answered your question enough, Hunter? Have games stagnated? We've been on a massive fucking chill vibe conversation
I
here.
forgot
We've not
how
really
we
kept
got
the
from
podcast.
point A to
Yeah,
point B, not gonna lie.
It's been a pretty decent conversation.
Hope you guys have put your lo-fi tunes on to just chill, because like we've just been kind of zoned out this whole time. But yeah, I guess with that out of the way, do we have anything that we want to talk about other than that, or are we good? It's a very short. This is like the shortest episode we've done in like 2 months, 3 months. It's been a very, yeah. I don't know. I guess I should
have any hot takes.
Yeah, Toys for Bob can go fuck themselves with these patches. Let's just talk about that real quick.
Go for it, man.
Crest 4 patch. I just wanna mention this because now that we've got the chill out the way, we can get to being angry again, I guess. I'm gonna put my glasses on while I read the time how long each of these episodes have been real quick. But basically the PS5 version and the Series X version, don't get me started on the Series X version of Crash 4 came out the other day. And I'd like you guys to explain how this is possible. Yeah, it's been since the Game Awards that an episode's been this short. It's been a while. But they patched like 4 glitches that we only used by speedrunners. All of the things that casuals that could find, like the engine skip, are still in the game. They only patched stuff that speedrunners would do, and they only did it on the PS5, the Series X and S version, and the Switch version. The PS4 and the Xbox One still have them. So we're sitting here asking why. Why did they do this? It's so fucking infuriating. Yeah, it's so fucking infuriating as well. Because I was just the bearer of bad news that entire day. Because I was the person. There's like 3 people in the Crash community that have a fucking next-gen console, and one of them couldn't get the fucking update to download, so it was just basically myself and a Crash runner Rico were just looking for stuff. So I just went to Dragon On, going, time to have some fun, and then just mass nodes to these massive cock block invisible walls everywhere. No fun allowed. And then I guess we can kind of throw this into the old question with developers and stuff like that. Here's my question especially to Hunter, right? Because you're not a speedrunner. Me and Kyle have a biased opinion on this. So here's my question to you. Glitches in games, if they don't affect the casual person, should Toys for Bob go out of their way and fuck with us and patch them out? That's my question to you.
No, it's not hurting anybody. Usually glitches in games crack me up most of the time. Like, as long as it's not critically affecting my experience, I'll get a little giggle out of the person. I'll get a little giggle out of the people in Red Dead who are acting like animals because they're a motion track.
Yeah.
I'll have a little giggle about that. It didn't ruin my experience at all.
Honestly, it enhanced it.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no reason to go out of your way to, like, if people want to play the game fast and have found a way to make life easier for them in that respect, I don't see why you'd have to go out of your way to spite them.
I think patching skips out of a single-player game is really just a dick move. Because you're playing by yourself. This is only affecting you and your game. Like, why would you get rid of it?
They also, like, this is why I was really mad in the Crash Discord the other day, was I was just sitting there going, they didn't even patch the easy baby shit out. Like, I would have, if they had patched engine, which, by the way, here's a little tip for all you guys that are shit at Crash, right? With the engine fight in Crash 4, if you slide spin into him, instead of just spinning him, it'll skip the whole of the Guitar Hero phase and just go straight to hitting him again. That's a glitch that's very easy that casuals can do. You just slide spin into him, you skip the whole boss fight, essentially doing that. They left that fucker in, but they patched moves that required you to do a glitched Akano double jump spin off of a box to land on a platform, to then double jump Akano spin onto the side of a building to hit a precise pixel to walk along it and cut the corner. They patched that shit out, but they didn't patch out, slide spinning the boss. They kept their broken boss in, but they didn't.
Trying to fight a dragon, but then also forgetting not to step on the rake in your yard.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I would have been less pissed off if they had patched everything. If they had just gone through everywhere and had been like, we're just patching everything, I would have been fair enough. But they went pick and choosing. They were just like, what do people love the most? What's that blue gem skip? Cool, let's put a big cock block wall there, going, fuckers, fuck you. No one was finding that, and I'm so mad. And I'd like, because they did a reaction on IGN. They did like a whole thing where they were like, this is cool. Yeah, look at all this stuff they found. That's cool and that's fun. And then they went in and they were like, right, let's go fix the fun, I guess. Like, it's...
Yes, hello, fun police.
Yeah. I'd really like to talk to Toys for Bob, and not in like a threatening way like most of the Crash community would. But I would just... I'd like to just know. Like, I'd like to interview. No, I'm not beating their asses. I'm not.
The arms.
I'm not taking names, but I'd just like to ask them, like, what is their reasoning behind it? Like, I just want to sit there and be like, dead ass, what the fuck was going through your heads that justified
why?
Because it doesn't affect anyone. If anything, you've now put me off playing the fucking game because I don't want to do the run anymore because you've just taken out 2 minutes of skips. I'm like, this is dumb.
But so, Ethan, think about those loading screens. Think about how fast those are.
That's oh, you forgot about that. They also added an additional 2 seconds of loads to the old version of the game on PS5. So even if we did want to go back to the old version, we'd have to even wait longer now. So it's not even like we're just losing fast loads. We're gaining slower loads than we would have had before the patch. It's great.
It takes longer to load it on the PS5 than the PS4 now?
No, it takes even longer on the PS4. They just added from the last patch to this patch, they added 2 seconds of loads to each load on PS when it's running on PS5. When it's on PS4, it's added like another 6 seconds of loads.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll make me want to go back and play that game again.
I'd like to know the reasoning why. Yeah, like genuinely, I'd just like to know why. Why have you done this? Like, Toys for Bob's, you've kind of become notorious for this. Vicarious Visions, Dan Tanguay, he was chill. He kept everything in for the most part. He patched out early like Hot Cocoa, which was a bit annoying. But other than that, fine, right? Beanox are the fucking homies because we realized from the get-go that there were all these patches, there were all these fucking glitches, and they would patch like major shortcuts out.
First week where everyone was just backing over the finish line to drive forward.
You used to have lobbies of me and people like Kane where we'd be sitting on Electron Avenue, we'd be bumping each other off of the road into the finish line to count for laps, and we do it for hours and hours. It was great.
Those were the days.
Which they patched stuff like that, but stuff like actual speed tech, like unintended blue fire and stuff like that, which they did not program to have in the game. They did not expect for permanent blue fire to be a thing in that game. They did not expect that to be a thing. But instead of patching it, they went, oh, we're going to keep it, and then when we make new stages for you guys, we're going to have them with that built in mind, so you fuckers better learn it. That's the way to do it. Toys for Bob, when they found Walking Air in Spyro 2 and 3, they patched that shit out. And just that, they released a whole patch just to get rid of that little trick for speedrunners. And the glorious part of that is there's no 1.0 version of Spyro 2 and 3 because the game was rushed and there's only Spyro 1 on the disc. So that entire tech just disappeared forever. Like, that's never been seen again. Like, at least with Crash 4, 07's for that. At least with Crash 4, we could go back to 1.0. But who wants to do that? Like, honestly, Toys for Bob, please. Don't do it again. If you patch other things, then, man, we're coming for you, dude. We're coming for you.
At this point, patch everything or patch nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Though honestly, if it's not game breaking, then there shouldn't be any reason to patch it in the first place.
Yeah.
IMO.
It'll always make me laugh because they've patched 2 levels, right? They patched 2 levels. They patched Dragon On and what was the other one? My mind's drawing a blank. Run It By You. They patched those. The fuckers thought they patched 3. They thought they'd also patched nitro processing, but we found another skip anyway in that one that's actually quicker. So they patched the old skip, and now the new skip's still there. So fuck you anyway. You thought you got 3 of our levels down. We've only got 2. But
so is that like, is it Food Run where you go?
Food Run's still there. Yeah, Food Run's still there. The one I found was still there. Yeah, that's still there.
Hell yeah. Your legacy lives on.
Yeah, until they patch that out, and then we will be asking. Then we will be emailing Toys for Bob asking for a member of their team to come onto the podcast, and then we'll interrogate them on why they removed my skip from the game, and I'll be like,
next Spyro game.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's all I had to say. Really, is why you do this to us. But no, I guess
you got any hot takes?
Yeah, have you got any hot takes onto? Or are we done? Are we just stalling? I feel like we're stalling when we've got another episode of this
know.
fucking podcast coming out this week anyway. Like, it's like...
I think I'm stalling?
Stalling? No, I don't have
Stalling.
any. I haven't played anything. Well,
I don't play games. I just sit here on a podcast and talk about them.
I beat Persona earlier in the week, and
Well done.
that's fun.
I'm catching up. I've started binging it again because the game went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, it did. I know, right?
The game just goes from like pissing about to jump scaring me into oblivion and then going super serious. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing that we're doing. Never thought I'd be jump scared by a Persona game, but there you go. Maybe I'll have it finished next week. I'll have it finished by next week, probably.
Hell yeah.
To be fair, I could probably have it done in like the next 2 days if I binge it, but which I probably
spoiled.
might. Because it's been a month. I've had this game for like nearly a month now, and I still haven't finished it. So we'll get it. We'll get it done. But with that, I guess we'll call it quits, guys. I guess you've only got like another episode coming out this week, so hey, you can do with like a 10-minute shorter episode. Who cares? But with that, Hunter, where can people find you?
YouTube.com/ReaperHunter23.
Nice. And Cal, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, both at KDavisSRL.
Nice, and you can find me, as always, at Chaotic Ether on both Twitter and Twitch. Thank you ever so much for listening this week. We hope you have had your lo-fi comfy beats on to just vibe with us as we just sit here and chat shit for the past hour. It's been a very unstructured episode than we usually do, but hey, if you like more of this, let us know, and we'll maybe do more of this just random sit down and talk kind of episodes. We'll see. But yeah, with that, thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back on Friday for more. That's weird saying that. Remember, leave us a great rating on podcast services. We really would do appreciate it. If you do leave us a rating on podcast services, let us know as well. We'll give you a shout out. We'll do shout outs for podcast reviews. We'll do shout outs for subs as well. We'll just sell out for everything at this point. Get us to 100 subs, guys.
Please.
Doesn't tell us who it is.
It doesn't tell us who does subscribe. So if you do want a shout out and you do subscribe, let us know, and we'll give you a shout out. Or write in, and we usually give you a shout out that way. There's many ways for us to say your name in front of an audience of like 100
maybe we can
people.
start using that silly community tab YouTube has.
We don't have one, I don't think.
Oh, we
I
don't
would.
have one?
No,
That's garbage.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it does, but I'm upset.
I'd shitpost in it if we had one, but we don't. So
That doesn't surprise me.
guess we're gonna have to wait for that one. But yeah, if we get to 100 subs,
stick to Twitter.
if we can get to 100 subs, that'd be greatly appreciated. But with that, thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back on Friday for a special 1 year anniversary episode of HGO, and we'll be back next Monday. If you don't want to hear about us tooting our own horn for like an hour, you can catch us again next Monday for a regular episode where we'll probably just chat about random stuff anyway. So you might as well watch Friday as well. But until then, have a great first half of your week, I guess. And we'll be back on Friday for more. Until then, bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.